We don't know how they've done it, but they managed to do it. Who am I talking about? Am I talking about Chennai? Am I talking about Kolkata? I'll tell you in just a second who did what. Hi, you're watching My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur. With me, Simon Doull, and a very, very happy Joy Bhattacharjya because Kolkata has won by 10 runs. Didn't look like it at the halfway mark of the chase, with Chennai chasing a total. They needed about 7-ish and over with 9 wickets in hand. But somehow they have not managed to do it, and they've fallen 10 runs short. Kolkata managing to stop them. They've done it. They've really done it, and they have to give themselves a lot of credit here. As much as Chennai will criticize them, and I'm sure that we will criticize them as well. But credit due to Kolkata. It was not a very big score, and at the 10-over mark of Chennai's chase, it looked even smaller, Simon Doull, when we assessed it. Really amazing performance by Kolkata and a really dismal performance by Chennai.
Yeah, snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, I think you would say, from a Chennai point of view. Yeah. But there's some very good bowling, some indifferent batting. And I thought Kolkata, with runs on the board, their strategy in the field just seemed almost to pay off completely. They left Narayan, they held him back, held him back. They've got two very similar bowlers in Chakravarti and Narayan. That worked well. And the same strategy that they use in Joy, which is one that we've both talked about and we both like, is just using Russell, saving him for the back end, for 1 or 2 overs at the back end when sides are under pressure. And he's done the job again.
Because he suddenly, Joy, let's rip a 140 bumper, right? It's not something you associate with Russell, but because you've conserved his energy and you're only giving him 2 overs at the back, I think he shocked them a couple of times with those 140 bumpers.
Yeah, Kedar Yadav's form, if you have to search for it, you'll have to go back to 2018. It was a couple of years back. He's also still searching for it, but shocker of an innings. But, I actually knew this game was already won because, you see, Shah Rukh Khan's favorite film name is Rahul. And when Rahul does well in a film, Shah Rukh Khan always does well. So Shah Rukh Khan. So KKR had to do well. When a Rahul got runs, I said it's over. Either a Raj or a Rahul gets runs for KKR, they're going to win.
I'm trying to this really tight frame. I'm trying to do the Shah Rukh pose, but I can't because my wingspan is way beyond what this camera can handle. I'm going all the way from Dubai to Abu Dhabi, but yeah, you're getting the message. But good call there, Joy. Good shout, of course. Rahul, well, naam to suna hoga. And that's 2 points for Kolkata. And Rahul Tripathi, in fact, is also on our boost stamina meter. Obviously would be. He got half the runs. Let's not take away from the fact that he pretty much was the linchpin. He was Simon. He was the only guy who checked in today for Kolkata with the bat.
With the bat, I mean, opportunity at the top. And this is what this tournament's all about, isn't it? Taking opportunities. Overall rating of 90.4 in our boost stamina meter. Score of 81 off 51 balls. He was brilliant. 1s, 2s, 3s, picked up boundaries. And this whole tournament is about seizing your opportunities. Now, Rahul Tripathi will remain at the top of the order for Kolkata from now on. He'll form an opening partnership with Shubman Gill. They might float Narayan. They might have Narayan at 5, 6, 7. Maybe he might be able to finish an innings off. Maybe as soon as a leg spinner comes on, they might throw Narayan out. I don't know. I'm not convinced yet they've got their batting sorted and their batting order right, but I'm convinced that they got their bowling right, and the batting was all done by Tripathi, so it was brilliant from him tonight.
Yeah, Joy. I mean, Rahul Tripathi, the big win from today's game. You think now that they will say, all right, this kid's a good opener. What he's done for Pune, he did while opening. Let's not waste him at 7 and 8. Let's make him open.
Absolutely, I think they will make him open. Having said that, I still, if when he's going to come against the Rabadas and the Bumrahs of this world, sheer pace, maybe you may not see. He's a great dominator of medium pace bowling. Okay, I think against a really top order, but those you're not going to get runs from. In situations like that, you're not going to get runs from Narayan either. So I think it's fair to say that he's done enough to deserve his place. And see what tells you, there's a very stat there which is very revealing. He's got 81. Okay, the next highest score is 70. Yeah. So the highest other score is 1/3 of what he scored. That shows you the kind of domination he's done today. And see, if he hadn't been there, this 167 would have been at least 25-30 short. And that was the difference. Finally, they had enough runs on the board that they could absorb, the early run by Chennai, sort of absorb it in and then take it forward. There's only one question I want to ask: that if this man, if Sunil Narine has such a brilliant track record bowling against Shane Watson, why wasn't he given an over earlier?
Yeah, I just want to ask one question of Joy. Did you, the human calculator, just say that 17 is 1/3 of 81?
No, I said less than. Nobody else scored.
Well, it's even less than half then.
What's wrong with me? 17 5s, 85. 17 4, 68. What am I doing? Sorry.
He's delirious.
I'm just too happy today.
He has no idea how in the last few overs Kolkata has managed to get those 2 points, because it really wasn't looking at that. And I know we always do this where people are always criticized, saying that when Chennai is playing another team, it's always just Chennai has won or Chennai has lost and the other team has never given any credit. But Simon, today you got to say, I mean, while we have praised Kolkata for the tactics that have gone right, holding Sunil Narine, holding Andre Russell, etc., their bowling changes, we have to talk about Chennai, because this is yet another botched chase, and this probably was the easiest one that they have botched.
Yeah, cool, calm heads normally on older shoulders, and there's plenty of older shoulders in that side.
They still seemed cool and calm, but they just didn't seem cognizant of the score they had to get to. They were still cool and calm.
99 for 1 at the start of the 12th over.
Yeah,
99 for 1, and by the start of the 17th over, 17.1, they were 129 for 5. They lost 4 for 30 in 5 overs. Now you look at this after the 10th over. These are telling numbers for Chennai, starting to rack up now, where they've won twice, but their score after 10 overs is the key. They just haven't been able to kick on. And chasing moderate scores or chasing big scores, they have not been able to kick on.
And that's the thing.
And they've been in really.
When you look at
they've been in a good position today, obviously.
Yeah, when you look at their scores, right, there you go at the 10th over. So that's the real telling number, right? Which is why I was saying that today the required run rate at the halfway mark of their chase is 7.8 with 9 wickets in their hand, right? Now, when you look at the other botched chases, you look at 13.5 at the halfway against Rajasthan, almost 13 against Delhi. You're looking at 12. Still should perhaps get it done, but you're looking at 44 for 4. So this is 90 for 1.
No.
For God's sake, Joy, this is. I really hope they have a solid talking to after this, because it just looks like it's just Watson and Faf, and one of them sticks, it's great, but if he's gone, then that's it. Game's over.
No, and see, the important thing we'll have to look at is when Chennai was in its heyday, winning tournaments, winning 3 IPLs, reaching finals, these were the games opponents would lose against them. Chennai would miraculously sneak wins. They'd play badly and sneak wins. Very rarely would it happen that Chennai would play well and lose a match. This is what's happened. They dominated a match for 30 overs and they went and lost that match. And the other thing you have to ask yourself is, there's one number that will be discussed all over Chennai today. That's 7.8 crores. That's 78 million rupees. That's what they paid for Kedar Yadav in 2018. And they will be asking themselves what value they've got out of it, because I don't seem to see any value out there. Secondly, my point is that if he is not going to attack, he played 4 dot balls, didn't seem to be settled. Not only did he derail the chase by not being able to hit, he took so many dot balls that he put a lot of pressure on Jadeja, who came in next.
Yeah, let's have a look at what the individual scores have been. We'll pull those up also. Sorry, carry on, please.
No, you're right. The other games that MS would win, or Jadeja would come in and win. Those are the games that look like they're dead and buried, gone, in trouble, and then someone comes and wins them the game. They should have won it, and they shouldn't have won it, and then they end up winning it anyway, because that's what Chennai do. But this is just not happening now for them. Those things are going wrong for them now, and those guys are just not being able to get the job done, and that's what's it should be worrying Chennai.
Yeah, so they've got runs out of Watson today. Watson got a half century of 40 balls. They got a little bit out of Faf du Plessis. They got exactly what Kolkata got out of Narine is what du Plessis gave to Chennai. And then after that, it really is a poor showing. You've got Kedar Jadhav, who's 7 of 12 balls, and he's stuck. And that's the pressure that builds that you get the wickets with. And we show you the fall of wickets, and then you'll know how this got derailed and why we are just so baffled by this. is because when you're looking at that 11 to 15 stage, 20 for 2. 11, and this is not when, let's just set that right. This is not when the team has lost 6 wickets. Right?
Exactly my point.
This
This
is
is
when the
not-
team is 1 wicket down.
Yeah, exactly my point. What you're doing, what does it show you? It shows you 2 things. It shows you that there are a lot of players who are unsure of their place and want to play a few balls before settling down, because at this point in time they're more worried about their individual form than even the team winning or losing.
Yeah.
So they say, let me play a couple of dot balls, let me get into shape. And the problem is they're just doing that and putting too much pressure on the batsman on the other side. If you take 3-4 balls like that and then you take a single, you're putting a huge amount of pressure to the other guy and telling him, okay, Sam Curran, you need to hit a 6 immediately. And that's simply not fair. If you have to take that, just come in, take it off that first ball. And don't tell me MS Dhoni or Kedar Jadhav can't get off strike. I mean, that is something I find difficult to believe.
And on a big ground like this one, not one, even if it's a bowler you want to see off, you should at least be getting 6 in the over.
Yeah, you should be able to. I mean, Narayan came into the attack, didn't he? I'm just sort of scrolling back through the live feed on Cricbuzz, and Narayan came into the attack around about that time in that little period of play, that 2 for 20, 11 to 15. And they just couldn't get him away. He bowled his first over for 5 runs in the 12th over. And then they just couldn't, Nagakoti came on, got the wicket. So that was just a really nice period of bowling as well. We can say that, Chennai weren't proactive. They didn't look for the runs, but it was a nice period of bowling as well. And, hence that reason I said they held Narayan back and then brought him into the attack late. And he bowled 4 overs in the last 10.
And see,
4 overs in the last 10 overs.
When I was counting him 4th or 5th at the mid-show, Joy was like, why aren't you counting him for 6? I knew this, Joy. I knew it. He bats at 4, he bowls at 5. That's Sunil Narayan 3.0 for you right here. But the fall of wickets as well, right? I mean, if you're going to keep, you'll get stuck and then a wicket goes. More pressure on the next guy who also gets stuck and then goes. And then similarly, as you said, Joy, the pizza lunch that they had falling like dominoes, right? There you go.
But I would actually expect them to fall more like dominoes. I would expect them to go harder before the run rate went so high. That's exactly what I don't understand. I think Kedar Yadav, these people went too late. You cannot allow, when the run rate is 7 and 8, you can allow it to get to 10, 11 and say, okay, now we start hitting. There has to be a boundary and over. Somebody has to be responsible. And it's so un-Chennai like, entirely the chase, what's happened was that, I think Stephen Fleming will looking out there and saying, is this the team that we reached about 8 finals, 7 finals in 9 years? I mean, what is it? What's happened to these guys? Because it's clearly not working, not because they're not being able to do it. It's because my problem with Chennai is not that they've lost. My problem with Chennai is some of the batsmen not showing
the
intent.
manner. Is it the manner in which they've lost?
It is intent. It's intent. And that bothers me. This is not the Chennai in terms of intent.
Yeah, it's only 5 down, right? And the fact is that you can pretty much negate that last over. If you think, well, 10 runs is close, no. The match was pretty much over when it went into the last over. Was it 25 to win? 26 to win in the last over? You knew it was done, right? You knew it was done and dusted. So even when Jadeja got the 6 and a couple of 4s, it's just brought it a little deceptively close to what Kolkata was. The match was sealed pretty much at the end of the 19th. But there's one graphic that I want to bring back where we had the score progression of both teams, and we was doing a comparison because I think Kolkata also goes away from this match thinking about a lot of stuff because they didn't really dominate 3/4 of the match. Yes, if you're looking at 16 to 20 for Kolkata, look at that. It's 39 for 6. On any day with any other team, this is a team which has obviously got derailed and it has a lot of soul searching to do, which is Chennai. But if you look at Kolkata there, 39 for 6 in your death overs does not win you a game.
74 for 8 as well. So it's in the back half, and that's the major issue. They were 2 in a great position, and this is what can happen. And I know we're going to harp on about it a little bit now, and I hate to do it, but tinkering too much with the batting order. Just stop tinkering with it.
Yeah.
Settle on a combination. And I understand Tripathi going to the top. I agree with it. That's fine. Narayan then needs to go to where Tripathi was batting, which is 7. And if you decide to float him every now and then, I'm okay with that now and then. but you've got world-class players at 4 and 5. Leave them there, let them do the job. And I think down the line, you'll get the benefit of batting Owen Morgan at number 4 consistently and Nitish Rana at number 3 consistently. I just think that, it's just where Kolkata have gone wrong today. That's all. They got the runs on the board. I thought it would be enough runs, and it proved to be that way. It possibly shouldn't have been in the end, but they've come back really nicely with the ball. But it should have been a 185 total, I think. And I really feel sorry for you, Gaurav. You should have had the badge of honour today.
I should have had it. At 188, I should have had it. But it's just saying.
I'm really feeling for you, mate.
Thank you. I mean, it's broken my streak, if you can call 2 in a row a streak. But it's more of a streak than just one, which is just a flash in the pan, isn't it, Joy? That's what you have today, a flash in the pan.
5 flashes in the pan so far, Gaurav. 5.
But
One,
have you been able,
2, 3,
as
4,
we
5.
say in the tournament, have you been able to string together some victories? Been able to
I have
string them together?
I've strung together a few, but now I'll start again. The point is, every time I start winning the next one, they take me off the commentary. So they take me off the panel just to make sure I don't win anymore. I mean,
we drop you down. We're doing a KKR with you.
Exactly.
We're doing your team.
I'm ready to score runs out here for the team. They're not allowed to play me.
We're going to bring you in 9.
KKR also reminds me of this great film, the 60s film. It's a great film. And all of you should see it. It's called The Great Escape.
Of course. Steve
McQueen. This is The Great Escape. You did everything wrong. Something happened. The only decision I think they took, and they took it for a reason, they said the ball must be slowing down. The pitch is slowing down. Maybe save Sunil Narayan for the back 10.
Yeah.
I think somewhere there's strategy out there. And that they might have done. I still feel they should have still saved him 3 and given maybe 1 up front against Shane Watson. But, that worked for them. And the other thing that worked for them, I admire Varun Chakravarti tossing up the ball at that stage to Dhoni, middle stump to Dhoni, tossing up a ball on length is something that many bowlers have had nightmares about for many, many years. To see it yield a wicket today, shows you that this is 2020.
It is upside
and you
down.
can see it deceived MS as well, because he's not a guy that normally swipes across the line. MS Dhoni is a guy that hits downtown. I mean, we all go back to the World Cup winning shot. He hits spinners, he hits quicks down the ground. He very rarely resorts to that wild swipe across the line. So it deceived him. And that's what I loved about that. The courage from Chakravarti to be able to do that. That was really good. And that, I wouldn't say it was the turning point. I think 1 wicket prior to that possibly was. But it really gave Kolkata a bit more belief, I think.
It was, I think if you were to sum up this match, you'd say that both teams during their batting controlled the game for the first 10 and just went completely pear-shaped in the next 10. So I think that both teams have to reassess. One, of course, they're getting some stuff out of maybe their top order. So today, Kolkata's got it out of Shubman Gill a few days. Today, they got it out of Rahul Tripathi. But on the other side, and then they're getting very little from the others, maybe sometimes from Rana, sometimes from Morgan. Maybe they're doing too much of a draw of lots with their batting. On the other side with Chennai, they're just not getting enough intent out of their middle order, which is the reason why the back 10 has got so derailed. And I'll tell you, I mean, I had both these teams, and it's there in the ether, it's etched in the marble, that I had both these teams as my picks for the playoffs. And very honestly, as a fan, I'm disappointed at the second half of both their batting innings, because you're not wanting this, Simon. As a fan, you're not wanting it. There are these questions. It's great what they did. Rahul Tripathi is great. Andre Russell, Sunil Narayan, their bowling strategies, etc., great. But they can't let 8 wickets go. They can't be all out when they were 2 down or at the halfway mark.
No, I get all that. I think they'll be disappointed. They won't be anywhere near as disappointed as the team in yellow, though, because they still won.
Yeah,
they didn't play anywhere near their best game,
correct.
And they still got 2 points on the board.
Yeah,
I didn't have Chennai anywhere near my top 4 at the start of the tournament, so you and I were slightly different in that fact. I just thought that I felt the UAE wouldn't suit them. I felt they'd picked a team that could be successful at Chipak. And not be so successful on the road in India. And obviously coming here was going to make things a lot more difficult. And I just felt that the age of their team and the age of their players, I didn't have them in my top 4. I had Kolkata as a finalist.
Yeah. And
I think if they get their batting strategies right and their batting order right, they can still be a finalist, because I believe the 2 best bowling attacks in the tournament are Delhi and Kolkata, closely followed by Mumbai. And so that's my theory around it, because bowlers win your 2020 games.
No, absolutely. And they've got all the options. They've got the variations. They've got the youth. They've got the experience. So, they've got a bit of all. So I think what you're saying in terms of Kolkata is you're never comparing just, it's great bowlers. It's what the package is and what the bouquet is.
Yes.
And their bouquet looks really good. Delhi looks really good. You're right. Mumbai looks really good as well, because they've got the left armour, the right armour, the leg spinner, whatever Krunal Pandya does. I don't even know what that is anymore, but it's very innovative. Talking about innovation, Mahendra Singh Dhoni after the game has said that we should have rotated the strike a lot more. It's true, especially on a big ground. Should have rotated the strike a lot more. Joy, you said one thing, Joy, which also I was listening to quite intently. You said that they should have probably tried for a few big hits at one point in time. I thought that they were just only trying for the big hits, right? They were such kings of taking a game deep, right? They've not taken the last few deep. By last few deep, I mean you're in for a chance with 12 balls to go. The few chases of theirs, you're looking at 12 balls to go and you're like, it's done. Yeah, let's just sort of get ready and sit down because, the game's over.
No, absolutely. They've just simply lost that ability to be able to time their chase. And that's possibly because what's happened is their batsmen who are chasing have not adjusted to the fact that they're no longer the hitters they used to be. And I think that's what's happening, that they're playing to a particular form that they could do at one particular point in time. But what they don't have is they can't turn it on in the end. And if you don't, then you adapt. And they should be rotating singles. I mean, Kedar Jadhav and Dhoni, most responsible, they just played so many dot balls, it was unbelievable. I mean, you're sitting out there and you're wondering, okay, you can't hit a six, it's not that easy, the square is slow. I can understand all that. You can't get a single. You don't have enough intent to get a single. You're patting it back to the bowler. Go get a run. Drop it and run. You drop it and run, 9 times out of 10, you will get a single out there straight off. So I just do not understand that.
We'll just pull out that stat. I think it's quite relevant what you're saying. We'll just pull out the stat of how many dot balls that Chennai played, because I don't know it off the top of my head, but I think it's going to be a pretty shocking number, isn't it, Simon?
I would think so, and you've only got to look down past past Watson, past Faf du Plessis, and even Ambati Raidu, 30 from 27, not bad. But then you get down to those numbers where less than a run a ball for Jadhav, less than a run a ball for MS Dhoni. In those sorts of chases, you can't afford to do that. I mean, MS faced 12 balls for his 11 runs. That sort of thing is just at the start of his innings. It's happening too often for a guy who used to be able to, get the better of that and make up for it at the back end.
Yeah.
He's not doing that anywhere near as well as he once did. And that's becoming the problem. And I know there was a few Chennai fans that didn't like the fact that I'd said about a week ago about the fact that it's just covering up some flaws. The late strike rate is covering up some flaws in the early parts of their innings, and that's exactly what's happening. When it doesn't happen, it's exposed.
Yeah.
And these are the little things that just come back and bite you a little bit at the end. And he's not the only one. I agree with Joy. Kedar Jadhav has got to do more. He's got to do a lot more for this team. He's not bowling. He's decent in the field, but man, he's an international Indian player. He has to do a heck of a lot more for this team.
Yeah. 12 dot balls in the first 10, 21 in the back 10. So a total of 33. You've got 5.5 overs of dots. So George is shaking his head going, no, unacceptable. That is unacceptable for Professor Bhattacharjya.
No. I mean, we were just talking a few days back where Delhi had a partnership. I think it was between Pant and the batsman Shreyas, I think, where they had a 71-run partnership without a single dot ball. Because, one of the things that Ricky Ponting is very serious about is saying, you can't afford not to play dots. A dot is a crime. A dot is something to be covered up. A dot is something to worry about. Here, 3 times in a row, he pats it back to the bowler. I cannot understand that. You're not chasing 95. You're chasing 167. I just don't get it. And
we keep, I think that Ajay Jadeja, Zahir Khan, both of them keep criticizing fielding teams for giving away the easy single. And so that in the modern day game, the easy single is actually available. Fielders do tend to hang back on the 30-yard circle. They're there, 33 dot balls. They tell a story. Well, lots of stories. Look at us. It's true. Look at the points table now. Look at the points table, and it's telling a story. We're almost approaching the halfway mark. Another game for Mumbai, another game for Chennai, and that'll be half their games. So, we're not in the early stages of the tournament anymore. You've got Mumbai at the top, that net run rate is looking nice and plump and juicy, like a mango in April. Yes, Joy. And you've got Delhi with a game in hand, so they could potentially jump over Mumbai. There you go, Kolkata. Kolkata will be happy with that as well. They're at 6 points. They're tied with Bangalore. And now it just seems like they're breaking away from the pack because Chennai has now got 2 wins and 4 losses. This is so unlike what we have seen with this team. And things for Rajasthan and Punjab, of course, are not looking good at all.
What's the magic number usually, Joy? 7 or 8 wins? 7 wins and a net run rate.
8 is your magic usually.
No,
16.
8 is sure. What happens with 7 is 7 you'll qualify if the top 2 teams have broken far ahead. So if the top 2 teams have ended up with 10, 11 wins, then 7 will do it for you. You will not do it with 7 with if there are some teams on 8, then you'll unlikely to do it on 7.
But Joy, didn't last year the 4th team qualify net run rate at 12? Wasn't there a pack at 12 as well?
Yeah. So what happened is, one guy broke away, and then there are a whole lot of people stuck at 12. I think SRH qualified with 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a good run.
It was the only time that a team is qualified with 6 wins. It doesn't happen.
6 wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
correct.
So if you look at this point here, what's happening? There are 2 clear teams, and they're likely to run away. You look at it, Mumbai and Delhi are going to run away. My sense is, I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, but I feel Rajasthan and Punjab will fall away at this point in time. My sense is that you might be looking at the order of ending for the tournament in terms of the top 4. This could very well be your top 4 because Chennai is not really showing much. Hyderabad, the problem with them is that they're bowling with the injury to Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. They just look like a very, very average bowling side, and bowling has been their strength. So the batting will have a lot more to do. Rajasthan has too many questions, unless, of course, the only thing that we're not counting here is, Ben Stokes suddenly turns around the team. Those things can happen. Suddenly they reel off 3-4 wins in a row. But Rajasthan is not looking the part, and sadly, nor is Punjab at this point in time.
Yeah, and Chennai, I think we have the games that Chennai has, with Chennai schedule as well. We'll pull that up for you and show you the games that they have. I mean, there's no easy games really in this tournament, but there you go. You can have a look at. They're going to be playing Bangalore next. That's happening in Dubai. Let's say they have one game at Sharjah against Delhi. Geez, that's big hitters. So they'll be looking at that game with a little bit of dread. And against Mumbai at Sharjah as well. You've got to keep that in mind, right? So, yeah. Ooh.
Well, I'm imagining that Bangalore will get Chris Morris back for their next encounter as well. And they've been pretty desperate to get Morris back. I watched him bowl the other night in the warm-ups prior to the game. When was that? 2 nights ago we did the game, I think, and I watched him bowl outdoors. He looked really good, really fit. He was steaming in, bowling quick. So they'll be really keen to get him back into their lineup. It bolsters their quick bowling department, their power hitting at the back end of an innings as well. So I just think that gives them a little bit more of an edge over some of the teams that are probably just holding themselves at the bottom at the moment. And Stokes will definitely give Rajasthan an edge. Will it be too little, too late for Rajasthan? And are we already seeing the sort of the downside of Sanju Samson, where we had the great start, and we've talked about it on the show so often that he just falls away? Let's hope that's not the case. But Steve Smith has played a couple of poor shots in the last couple of games, so they've got to find something as well. So those teams at the bottom really have to find a way and find something to sort of catch back up. I think for mine, the top 4 are looking like the best 4 teams.
Yeah, and Kolkata's there as well. And Joy, just to wrap up this discussion, we've been praising the strategy in terms of the bowling changes and in terms of when particular bowlers were brought on for Kolkata. I'd really like to see the questions about DK's captaincy stop, because I feel like that DK and Morgan today did a good tag team sort of in tandem captaincy.
No, absolutely. I think, that's what people don't realize. A captain in a T20 match, especially if you're keeping behind the stumps, your mid-on, mid-off, your senior player has a huge part. When you're batting, anyway, the coach is also sitting out there in the dugout with you. He's in an opportunity to tell things. So the point is, definitely the way KKR looks at it, it's decision-making is a team responsibility. So we can't, diss DK just because they've taken bad decisions. you can't praise him that he's done it all alone. I mean, in either case, it's a team effort and they take collective responsibility.
Yeah.
I think they got a lot of these right. I still think, as Simon does, that there are things about batting order which I think the way Brendan looks at batting orders is idealistic rather than practical. I'd rather see him anchor a few players, allow them to settle and give them their chance to do that. But I don't think it comes from a bad place. It comes from a place of, being flexible and the new format. But I honestly don't think it works that well. That's all. But DK, I think now we'll take a lot from it. And
I mean, there are three on the table. Yeah. Why is it being questioned? He's three at the table. I don't get it. There's a lot of things I don't get. I think sometimes narratives just get formed,
Absolutely.
Yeah. They get formed because I look at it and I think they're a better team than where they're at. I still think they are one of the best teams in the competition if they get it right. And that's why we talk about it. And it's not all about DK's captaincy. It's not all about Brendan's coaching. We see things differently. And he's the coach and he's the captain and they will do things differently to us. But it's an opinion that we form because that's how we see it. Yeah. And it might not be right. They might go with the format that I suggest next game and it might be an absolute failure. And who knows? Yeah. But it's just from an outside point of view, that's the opinion that we're forming around where we think they should be.
I think which is what we were discussing earlier as well, right? We like to sort of comment on the thought and not on the result because we're not chasing the result and sort of, as they say, flipping our cap just because the result has gone a certain way. Today, we're still saying even after the case and even after the 2 points and after the win, still didn't understand Narayan batting at 4 as opposed to Morgan because you're right, they did leave 20 runs on the table. They were, dare I say, a little lucky today. Any other team, perhaps a Mumbai, perhaps a Delhi, perhaps a lot of other teams would not let them get away with that. You go even 10 runs short with them and they will make you pay. So there you go. You can, you can hang us out to dry as much as you want, but we'll still comment on the thought. If you don't understand it, we're going to say it. That's what we're going to do. We are going to say that it is time to show you our My 11 Circle Ultimate Team of the Day. These are the 11 you should have had today. How many of these did you have? I bet you didn't have Rahul Tripathi as your captain, because if one of you did, then, well, you have struck gold. Shane Watson, I'm sure a lot of you had Shane Watson in your team, perhaps as vice captain as well. And then we have some other performers there. So that was your My 11 Circle Ultimate Team of the Day. Our champion of the day goes straight to that. Let's just tell you who that is. It's Mohammad Wasif from Saharanpur, Uttar Pradesh. Congratulations. 416.5 points. Our champion of the day. Well done. Okay. Well, there you go. Let's have a look at tomorrow's game because they come in fast and furious. Match number 22. This comes to you from Dubai. It's Hyderabad playing Punjab. It's a bit of a cliche, right? When you say both teams need a win, it's a bit of a cliche. Everybody needs a win. But Punjab and Hyderabad, well, Joy, fair to say, these two really, really need a win.
Let's put it this way. To go, not just, I won't stay with your cliche. I'll just say it's good that somebody will win tomorrow's game. Somebody will feel better tomorrow night.
Well, there you go. Fair enough. Simon, who needs to feel a little more better than the other one?
Well, the Kings 11 have been. I mean, they had the two leading run scorers for the first week and a half of the tournament.
I think they've been much better than their position on the table. They've been better than that.
Yeah. Well, they have. They've just been let down. I mean, obviously getting done over in Sharjah in that game when Cottrell bowled that really poor over up against Rajasthan was Tiwati'd, you would call him.
He was Rahul.
Huge. Yeah, that was a huge blow for them, and they just haven't quite recovered. I don't think from that. It's the bowling that's been an issue for them, and I still think they're a good enough team. But I just don't know whether they've quite got their balance spot on either.
Chris Gayle? Are you for Chris Gayle as well?
No, I'm not, because you can't replace Mayank or KL. They've been quality. They've been standout. And Gale's not going to bat 3. He's never going to run you quick singles and turn the strike over. So there's no point in having him anywhere near if he's not opening the batting. So
would you like Mujib in the team?
I would like Mujib in the team. I like Mujib in the team ahead of ahead of. They dropped Jimmy Neesham in the last game, didn't they? Nicholas Pooran is done well enough, I think. Jordan has been indifferent, but maybe they could find a way to get Mujib in for Sheldon Cottrell and open with Chris Jordan and Mohammed Shami, or Mujib could use the new ball. But I think they need to find a way to get him in there. He's a point of difference. And he can make a bit of a difference up front with that new ball. So they've got to find a way to get him in. They're not losing anything with the bat by replacing Mujib with Sheldon Cottrell. And Cottrell, I think, after a couple of good games at the start, has been pretty poor.
Joy, do you agree with that? Do you think Mujib's got to be in?
I think Mujib has to be in, because what if you're not consistently getting wickets and your bowling is what's letting you down, you have to change it. So I agree. Either Cottrell or Jordan should be sitting down. I would rather Cottrell sit down. Cottrell hasn't done anything to me for the last couple of matches, and I believe that getting that Indian fast bowler, getting in Ishank Purohit, the young kids are doing well. Just a bit of a spark. Mujib is a young guy. It gives them a bit of energy in the field, a bit of fresh blood. They need to make that change. They need to make something change so that they can get something on the board. And I think getting 2 new bowlers right now is the best way, because clearly the bowling hasn't worked for them.
Let's have a look at the Hyderabad team as well, because you're talking about bowling, and they have suffered the blow of their sort of bowling captain. Simon, fair to say, Bhuvneshwar Kumar has been their bowling captain the last few years, and they've lost him for the rest of the tournament now.
Yeah, tough blow, really tough one for Hyderabad. Natarajan's been good. Again, Siddharth Kaul was expensive at the back end the other night. Sandeep Sharma is not quite at his best. So you're looking for like Indian replacements. And as much as I hate to say it, I've got to find a way to get Billy Stanlake into that team. And I don't know how they do that. And it really just comes down to leaving Williamson out, I think.
Yeah.
And finding a way to get Billy Stanlake into that side. Bring Shahbaz Nadeem in as well for another spin option. And he's actually not a bad batsman at the back end. He can find the boundary at the back end. So find a way to get those 2 guys in. I think leave an Indian seamer out, bring Billy Stanlake in, bring Shahbaz in, and take Williamson out. And you might just find a slightly better combination. It does put a bit more pressure on that top and middle order. I understand that, but again, I'll go back to what I said earlier. Bowlers win your tournaments. You've got to get wickets. You've got to frighten people up front, and Billy Stanlake can do that.
Okay. Sorry, Joy, you were saying?
No, absolutely. I fully agree. See, what is your situation? Your situation is if your bowlers can't knock over the wickets and get you those things. Because anyway, you're going to say that my batting my top 3 have to deliver anyway. I'm a top-heavy team. I have to have them bat. So it's no point my batting to 7 or 8. It's not adding anything to me. Play the extra player, play Shahbaz Nadeem, get one guy the opposition is scared of. Right now, everyone's looking at that bowling option saying, okay, maybe Rashid Khan will come on, I'll play Rashid Khan out. That's it. They are not worried about a single other bowler. Natarajan is bowling well at the death, but he's containing. Nobody is saying that, Natarajan is going to run through the order. They need something to do that. And see, that's the thing. When teams are in a situation like this, and it's not 1 match or 2 matches that you just hold your form, it's that, okay, now the tournament is in that situation where it's slipping away from us. If you've got to make hard decisions, it's now.
Will they make the hard decisions, though, or not? Well, we'll only find out tomorrow. Right now, we have a very, very hard decision, which is to pick the winner for Joy Factor question, because it was such an easy one today that we got 100 correct. No, I'm lying. I don't even think we got 1. We will. Simon, do you think we should say good night before Joy starts reading the question? Do you think we should we just leave?
The show will go out. It'll just fade out on Joy's voice.
I think he might still
be in a question far, far away.
I think he may still be here when we come back at 7 tomorrow. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here's the question. Have a look.
Okay, guys. The person with the best record in this does not from a test playing country. That means the record is held by somebody not from a test playing country. The first name from a test playing country belongs to a coach in the current event. The second, a captain, and the third, a South African, who was once a part of the Bangalore franchise. What record is this? And it's a pretty simple record. It is the highest T20 score, international score and debut. And the 3 people out there that you know of from test playing countries are Ricky Ponting, David Warner, and Riley Rousseau. I think the winner was he got a century against Serbia. So maybe you aren't watching Serbian cricket that carefully. So
I have been lagging behind in keeping up to date with my East European cricket leagues, but I promise I'll do a little better.
And I don't think Simon's doing much either there. Simon. I think
no,
your
he
East European cricket snap.
No, he isn't. He isn't. But somebody is. There's somebody there who's watching Serbian cricket, and that person is. Come on, drum roll. Give us the answer. Minions. There he is. It's somebody called Hey Joy. Well, come on. You got to get Joy. If you're going to answer your own question, at least have a bit of a decoy name that we can't guess it immediately.
Well, I had to give it to him. There were many others, but he also had the name of my favorite superhero. So,
Deadpool.
Man's got to do what a man's got to do.
Yeah, that's right. That's why you gave it to him, because he's got Deadpool there. He's got your name. It's your name.
I'm not going to admit to that. What do you think I am, a chump?
I cannot confirm or deny the allegation at this moment in time. But all we can do at this moment in time is actually say good night to you, because it is time for us to go. But we will be here tomorrow, as we are before every game. That's 30 minutes before every game is when we join you here on My 11th Circle Presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm going to be here tomorrow. Simon, are you here tomorrow? Are you at the stadium?
No, I'm working tomorrow. I think I'm might be on the toss tomorrow. I'll wave out to you.
You're sure you're not in the Hindi Cricbuzz? You're not there, right?
No.
Tomorrow's not your day. Yes. And thank you very much to Joy Bhattacharjya. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you joining us from Gurgaon. Thank you, Simon, joining us from Dubai. Please put some sunscreen on. Stay safe in the heat tomorrow. I'm Gaurav Kapur saying thank you to all of you for tuning in. We're going to see you soon. Lot more cricket action on Cricbuzz, but that's all we have time for right now.